Welcome to our deep dive, everyone. Today, we're diving into something pretty amazing, artificial intelligence in education.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, we've got a study guide here and a report from the World Economic Forum, and it's all pointing to a future where AI could totally change the way we learn and teach.
Actually, yeah.
What if AI could help us solve that global teacher shortage everyone's talking about? Or personalize lessons for every single student? That would be wild.
Crazy to think about.
It is, right? There's a lot to talk about, so let's just jump right in.
Yeah, let's get started. It's super fascinating to think about AI, not just as another tool, but almost like a partner in education. They're getting closer and closer to what they're calling Education 4.0. It's this whole framework to get students ready for a future where tech is everywhere,
Totally. Education 4.0. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, I think we should talk about, what's happening right now. What are the problems that schools are facing globally?
For sure. For sure. Global education systems have got some serious challenges, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And the biggest one, probably no surprise, is the teacher shortage.
Right.
UNESCO is saying we'll be short a ridiculous number of teachers by 2030, something like 44 million.
Wow.
And, it's going to hit places like sub-Saharan Africa really hard.
Yeah.
Which is obviously a huge problem if we want every kid to have a good education.
It's a big deal, for sure. And it's not even just about, how many teachers we have, is it? It's that even the teachers we do have are swamped with all this extra stuff that keeps them from actually teaching.
100%.
Right.
Look at those OECD countries, for example. Their teachers spend less than half their time actually teaching. They're buried in paperwork and grading and all that.
Yeah.
Honestly, stuff that AI could probably do way faster.
Totally. It's like if you had a world famous musician and you made them spend all day tuning instruments instead of, playing music.
Right.
We're wasting so much potential.
Yeah. And then you got another issue on top of all this digital skills gap. With AI becoming such a big deal in every industry, not just education.
Yeah.
The people who aren't comfortable with tech are going to be left behind.
For sure.
The World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs report said that 68% of executives are already having trouble finding people with the right AI skills.
Wow.
Which is huge.
So we've got this triple whammy, not enough teachers. The teachers who do have are stuck doing busy work. And on top of all that, we need to make sure everyone has the tech skills they need for the future.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a lot. But this is where AI could come in and be really helpful.
Definitely. This is where the whole idea of AI revolutionizing education starts to make sense.
Yeah.
Just imagine if AI could handle those tedious tasks, tracking attendance, grading those multiple choice tests, even giving some feedback on essays, obviously with a teacher checking it over, but still.
That would free up so much time. Teachers could actually focus on teaching, working with students one-on-one, being mentors, teaching those human skills that AI can't,
Exactly. It's not just about saving teachers time, though. Imagine AI changing how we assess students, too. We could get these real-time insights, data-driven stuff that shows exactly how each student is learning. We could see their strengths, where they're struggling, all that.
Yeah, it would be so much better than just giving a big test at the end and hoping for the best. Students could get feedback all the time and adjust as they go. And teachers could change their lessons, based on what the students actually need. That makes a lot of sense.
And then there's this whole thing about AI and digital literacy, which is so important. We can't just teach kids how to use AI. We need to teach them how to understand it. How to think critically about the ethics of AI, how to spot biases, to understand data privacy, all that.
Totally. We don't want them just mindlessly using whatever AI tells them, right?
Right. We want them to be informed. We want them to be the ones shaping how AI is used in the future. There are already some programs out there doing this, like Grok Academy. They've got these cybersecurity programs that are a perfect example of teaching these crucial skills.
Awesome. So are we saying every kid needs to become a programmer now?
No, not at all. It's more about critical thinking, how to use these tools responsibly.
I got it.
And then, maybe the most exciting thing about AI in education is this whole personalized learning thing.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that. AI could look at a student's data and then create a learning plan that's just for them.
Right, exactly. It adapts to how fast they learn, their learning style, whatever they need.
That's incredible. So every student would basically have their own personal tutor?
In a way, yeah.
I mean, that sounds amazing, but can AI really replace a human tutor?
Well, of course, nothing can truly replace, the human connection and learning. But research has shown that AI can get pretty darn close to that kind of one-on-one attention. There was this study, a while back by Benjamin Bloom.
Mm.
It showed that students who got personalized attention, similar to what you'd get from a tutor,
Yeah.
they learned so much faster than students in a traditional classroom, like way faster.
How much faster are we talking?
They were like 2 standard deviations ahead.
2 standard deviations, that's huge.
Yeah. It really shows how powerful it is to tailor education to each student. Now, obviously, we can't give every student a human tutor.
Yeah, that would be, like, impossible.
Right. But AI could be a way to do this on a large scale, like personalized learning for everyone.
This is starting to sound really good. It still feels a bit like science fiction, though, Are there any schools actually using AI right now?
Oh, absolutely. There are tons of examples. In fact, that World Economic Forum report we mentioned, they highlighted some really cool case studies from all over the world.
Perfect. Let's hear about them.
So one of the coolest initiatives I saw was this program by UNICEF called Accessible Digital Textbooks.
Oh, cool. What's that?
They're using AI to make textbooks accessible for students with disabilities. Like imagine a textbook that can, read itself aloud.
Wow.
Or show sign language videos.
It's amazing.
Or even describe pictures for students who can't see them.
That's incredible. So it's all about making sure every student can learn no matter what,
Exactly.
Wow.
And AI can play a big part in making education more inclusive, that's for sure.
Yeah. And it's not just about accessibility, right? AI can also help students in places where they might not have, enough teachers or resources.
Oh, absolutely. Like, check out what they're doing at Kabaku Academies in West Africa.
Okay, what's that?
They built this AI-powered mentor that's available 24/7 to help students, give them feedback, guide them.
So even if there's not a teacher around, students can still get support.
Yep. And it can help them learn skills to start their own businesses, which is huge in places where there aren't many jobs.
Yeah, that's empowering. I love that. Okay, what else?
There's also this program in Brazil called Letras.
Letras.
It uses AI to help students with reading and writing.
Oh, interesting.
And get this, students who used Letras ended up scoring second in the whole country on these national writing exams.
Wow. In just 5 months.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. It shows how effective AI can be at giving personalized feedback and helping students learn faster.
Those are impressive results, for sure.
Right. And speaking of being ahead of the curve, South Korea is doing some really cool stuff with AI in education, too.
Like what?
They're introducing AI-powered digital textbooks that adjust to each student's level.
Whoa, so each student is basically getting a custom textbook.
Pretty much.
That's wild.
And it makes so much sense, right? Especially for subjects like math or science, where some students might need more help than others.
Yeah, everyone learns at their own pace.
Exactly. And with AI, everyone can get the support they need to succeed. Oh, and one more example I want to mention is the AI tutor project in the UAE.
Oh.
We're working on this AI tutor that will give personalized support to any student, whether or not they can afford a private tutor.
That's awesome. So it's trying to make sure everyone has access to the same level of education, right?
Exactly. It's all about educational equity.
I love that. It's really inspiring to see all these different ways that AI is already being used to make education better.
Right. It feels like we're at this turning point.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that AI is still a new technology. And like any new technology, we need to be careful about the potential downsides.
Yeah, for sure. What are some of the things we need to watch out for?
Well, one of the biggest concerns is data privacy.
Right.
We're talking about really sensitive information about students. So we need to make absolutely sure that this data is protected and used responsibly.
Absolutely. We can't mess around with kids' data. So how can we make sure that data is being used ethically,
Well, transparency is key.
Okay.
Parents, students, teachers, everyone needs to understand exactly how that data is being collected and used and what's being done to protect it. We need to have clear rules and strong security measures in place.
Yeah, we definitely need to know what's happening with that data. No secrets.
Exactly. And another thing to think about is algorithmic bias.
Oh, right. Right. AI systems are built using data. And if that data is biased in some way, then the AI will be biased too, right?
Exactly. And that could lead to some students being treated unfairly. So we need to be really careful about the data we use to train these AI systems. We need to make sure it represents everyone equally.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And we also need to keep a close eye on these systems, to make sure they're actually being fair to everyone. If we see any bias, we need to fix it immediately.
So it's not enough to just like build the AI and then forget about it. We need to keep checking on it.
Exactly. And it's not just about the technology itself. Teachers also need to understand how AI works and how to spot potential biases.
So teacher training is super important, right?
Oh, absolutely. We need to give teachers the skills and knowledge they need to use AI effectively and responsibly.
That's key.
Okay, so another concern that people have is that AI might replace teachers altogether.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that. Some people are worried about their jobs, right?
Right. But it's important to remember that AI should be a tool to help teachers, not replace them.
That makes sense.
We don't want teachers to feel like they're competing with robots. We want them to see AI as a partner that can help them do their jobs even better.
Yeah, like a teaching assistant.
Exactly. And that means we need to invest in training for teachers so they know how to use AI effectively in their classrooms.
It's all about giving teachers the tools they need to succeed.
Right. And of course, we also need to make sure that AI doesn't actually make inequality worse.
Yeah, that's a good point. We've talked about the digital divide. What if some students have access to all this amazing AI technology and others don't?
Exactly. We need to make sure that everyone has equal access to AI-powered education, regardless of their background or where they live. If we're not careful, AI could actually widen the gap between the haves and the have-nots.
So access is key. What can we do to make sure that everyone has access?
Well, we need to invest in infrastructure, especially in underserved communities. Things like affordable internet access and devices for everyone. And we need to think about creative ways to bring education to students who live in remote areas.
It's a big challenge, but it's one we can't ignore if we want AI to benefit everyone.
Absolutely. And one last thing I wanted to mention is the potential for misinformation.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one these days.
With AI, it's getting easier and easier to create fake news and other misleading content. So it's more important than ever to teach students how to think critically and evaluate information.
We need to teach them how to spot fake news, right?
Exactly. They need to understand how to tell if a source is credible, how to recognize bias, and how to protect themselves from manipulation.
It's like digital self-defense.
Kinda, yeah. It's about making sure they're informed and empowered.
I like that. Informed and empowered. So where do we go from here? I mean, AI is still pretty new in education, right?
It is. It's still early days. But the potential is huge. AI could really transform education for the better. But we need to be thoughtful and responsible about how we use it.
It's up to us to make sure AI is used to help everyone.
Exactly. We need to make sure it benefits all learners and helps create a more equitable and inclusive world.
Wow, we've talked about a lot, but it feels like we've only scratched the surface of what AI could do in education.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's such a fast-moving field. It feels like every day there's something new happening.
That is. And we're not even just talking about adding AI to what we're already doing. It could completely change the whole idea of education.
Right. Think about how AI could personalize learning, like make a completely unique path for each student based on what they're good at, what they're interested in.
Yeah, so it's not one size fits all anymore. It's like education that actually fits each kid.
Exactly. It helps them learn how to learn, figure out what they're passionate about, and get the skills they'll need for whatever they want to do.
And the world's changing so fast, that's more important than ever.
For sure. And AI can make learning more fun too, right? Like with VR, students could actually go back in time or visit other countries.
Whoa, that would be so cool.
Or AI could help create games that teach you things without even realizing you're learning.
Yeah. It's like sneaking in the education.
Totally. It's about making kids excited to learn, not making them feel like it's a chore.
Yeah.
And let's not forget how AI could help teachers.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Imagine AI helping teachers plan lessons, grade assignments, and even give personalized feedback to each student.
Then teachers would have so much more time to do the things that AI can't do, connect with students one-on-one, help them be more creative, teach them how to think for themselves.
Exactly. It's not about replacing teachers. It's about giving them a superpower.
I love that. AI superpowers for teachers.
Right. But as we get more and more into this AI and education thing, we have to be super careful. We have to think about the ethics, and make sure we're using it the right way.
Yeah, totally. So out of everything we talked about today, what was the most interesting thing for you?
Good question. I think the thing that really stuck with me is how AI could make education more accessible for everyone.
Yeah.
It has the potential to break down all those barriers that keep some kids from getting a good education, like where they live, their background, things like that.
So everyone would have a chance to succeed no matter what.
Exactly. Everyone deserves that chance.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's a perfect place to wrap things up. This has been an awesome conversation. But before we go, I want to leave our listeners with something to think about.
Okay, fire away.
So, given everything we've learned today, what role do you see AI playing in the future of education? What are you excited about? What are you worried about?
It's a big question, but it's one we all need to be thinking about. The future of education is really in our hands.
And AI could be a powerful tool to make that future brighter for everyone. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into AI and education. It's been a fascinating journey.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been fun.